Police in Georgia's capital, Tbilisi, have used water cannon and tear gas for a second night to disperse protesters angry at a controversial new law. The law, which received a first reading in Parliament on Tuesday, would classify non-governmental and media groups as foreign agents if they receive more than 20% of their funds from abroad. Critics fear it would severely limit press freedom and civil society in the country. Tens of thousands of people joined the second day of protests, which took place outside Parliament. Protesters fear that if the law is passed, it would damage Georgia's hopes of joining the European Union. The U.S. expressed solidarity with the protesters and called on Georgia's government to allow peaceful demonstrations. The European Union's foreign policy chief Josep Borrell warned that the bill was incompatible with EU values and standards. Authorities said 55 police were injured during the first night of protests, when stones and petrol bombs were thrown at them. The Prime Minister denounced the stir over the draft law, which his party, Georgian Dream, maintains dates back to U.S. legislation in the 1930s. However, critics say that NGOs are already subject to 10 different laws and that the Finance Ministry already has full access to their accounts, funding, and other information. The proposed law has been dubbed a Russian law by opposition-supporting TV stations, as a similar law in Russia has been used to suppress Western-funded NGOs, independent media, journalists, and bloggers. The opposition and protesters argue that the Georgian government is under Russian influence and that the new law would take the country further away from European values and the European Union. Georgia has applied to the European Union for candidate status and aims to join NATO, but its neutral stance on Russia's invasion of Ukraine has caused tensions in the country. Many Georgians see Russia's actions as a war of aggression, and thousands of Russians have fled to Georgia. However, the government in Tbilisi has refused to openly back Ukraine or impose sanctions on Russia. President Salome Zurabishvili has voiced her support for the protesters and vowed to veto the legislation, but Georgian Dream has enough votes to override the president's veto in parliament. The party has applied to the Council of Europe for its opinion. The proposed law would see Georgia join a list of undemocratic and authoritarian post-Soviet states, such as Belarus, Tajikistan, and Azerbaijan, which have copied the Russian law on restricting the activities of NGOs. Historically, the term agent in Russia and Georgia has the meaning of spy and traitor, giving a negative connotation to the work done by civil society. It suggests they are acting in the interest of foreign forces rather than doing good for the country and society.